I'm going to make a proclamation, a declaration, Kenny Stubblefield. This is something I typically do. I stand on things. I love to watch those things happen, right? If they don't happen, I have no apologies for y'all. Hey, sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong. I am making a prediction, Kenny Stubblefield, that Jaren Jackson Jr., making here live on the Anthony Sain Show, Jaren Jackson Jr. will sign an extension with the Memphis Grizzlies this offseason. There won't be any drama over the summer. He's going to sign one this offseason. I'm going to break it down. I looked at the numbers. I talked to people with a brain, Kenny Stubblefield, and I came to that conclusion. Let's jump into the numbers, Kenny Stubblefield. Let's look into this thing. According to my calculations out here, I took information from 3 people. One of those people was Bluff City Media's own Perry Sharkey put out an article today.
Let's go.
My guy Richie Jarvis. What's going on, my brother? Richie Jarvis is one of our sponsors. We have not started rolling out his ads yet. You'll see those soon, but you will see a live read today on the show. You'll get a live read for Trilogy Tattoo Company. You're going to get that today. You're going to see some advertisements coming out from him soon. Shout out to Richie Jarvis in the chat for sure.
This one means a lot to me. This Trilogy Tattoo thing means a lot to me. I have 13 tattoos, and 8 of them are from Trilogy Tattoo. My first ever tattoo that I ever got in my life. I was 18 years old, and I got it from Trilogy. So shout out to Richie Jarvis, man. I'm excited. I'm gonna go over there and see them boys. I got some other stuff I want to get done. You're gonna see me with some new
beautiful partnership we have with them. A lot of things we have in store. Look out for some of those things we'll be doing with Trilogy Tattoos. But I am predicting, Kenny Stubblefield, that Jaren Jackson Jr. We'll sign an extension with the Memphis Grizzlies this summer. We won't have the drama of the offseason to deal with and the drama of next season to deal with Kenny Stubblefield. Like I said, I got this information compiled from 3 individuals. Number one is Perry Sharkey of Bluff City Media, has an article out on fan-sided Beale Street Bears. I've always hated Beale Street Bears. I wish I thought of that name way before they did.
Right.
Because at first they didn't even have local guys doing this stuff. It'd just be some schmo writing the story about the Grizzlies or whatever, right? But now that it's local, I fool with them a little better. But back in the day, I did not like them dudes, but I love their name. Beale Street Bears was always dope. I got this from Perry Sharkey. I got this from the Michael Cole of the Commercial Appeal. And also my man, Bobby Marks of ESPN. I compiled their information, and I think I've convinced myself that Jaren's going to sign this season, and we'll break it down, Ken. Let's break it down for the people. What's the issue at hand, as far as I can understand it right now? Kenny Stubblefield, Jaren Jackson Jr. is facing the last year of a contract that pays him $23.4 million. For Jaren Jackson Jr., a guy since he signed that contract has been Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All-NBA team. The leading scorer for the Grizzlies, scored about 22 points per game, had his best season last year. At $23.4 million, that is definitely a bargain for what you got in Jaren during the length of this contract, especially given he even has another year at that amount. Kenny Stubblefield, pretty much if the Grizzlies were to extend Jaren off of that amount, there'll be a 4-year deal they could add onto next year's contract.
Right.
That amount is only $23.4 million. So that deal would end up being around $146 million.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does that, if they extend him this summer with that 4-year deal, does that restructure this last year of this previous deal?
No, let me get to that. Don't get too far ahead of me. All right. So if they extended him as is without doing anything,
got you.
It would be $146 million. That would be almost half of what he would have made if he'd have got a Supermax deal.
Okay.
It'd been a little bit less, less than half than what he would have made if he got the Supermax, right? Jaren's not signing for that. That's not happening. So what the Grizzlies would have to do, Kenny, is something I didn't even know existed until a few years ago. And this same thing happened with what's the kid's name? The Christian basketball player that plays for Orlando Magic.
Jonathan Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac did this. Lauri Markkanen did this. And the dude whose dad played in the NBA a long time ago.
A lot of them. Klay Thompson.
Oh, God, no. Sacramento Kings. His dad played against
Sabonis.
Sabonis, yeah. Dude, why am I so horrible with names, bro? It really bothers me, man. I really don't know
But no,
why I'm like this, bro.
You are able to describe, like you
Right.
lead me down the path of where we need to go. You're just bad with the names. It's all good,
Bro,
man.
do you remember there was a music video by Dr. Dre where instead of the $25,000 pyramid, they did the $25 pyramid. You remember that? There was like a well, anyway, they did and the word was you know the concept of the $25,000 pyramid.
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. So the word they were trying to find out was damn. Damn was the word, right? And so it was two guys from, two guys sitting there doing it.
Right.
And the guy says, I'll be. The guy says, sure. But the word was damn. He was trying to give him the same.
So crazy, man.
Oh, man. But those type of games, what's the other game? Any game like that, I'm typically good at it, bro. Like games like that, games like Taboo, all that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I test somebody up with it, bro. Like I'm cold. Like if we play any kind of game like that where I got to describe something, but there's certain words I can't use, we're winning, bro. Our team is gonna win.
Absolutely.
Now.
Absolutely.
But you want me to remember somebody's name, bro? I can't.
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening at all. All right, so all right, where were we, man? Jaren is not signing for $146 million. That's not happening, right? Because that's going to be a lot less than what he could make if he went into free agency next summer. So he's not going to take that amount of money, right? But what can happen with Jaren is that this is according to Bobby Marks, which I think is where a lot of people. And Bobby Marks said he could be very well wrong, but I'm going to assume that he's right. If he says it, it's pretty much right because he's a numbers nerd, like for
That's
sure.
what he does, man. That's what he
does for a living. He says that the Grizzlies can also renegotiate that deal. But that's what I was saying. He can renegotiate the last year of that deal. I had never heard of that, but he said it was the same thing that happened with, like I said, the kid whose dad used to play in the league.
Sabonis and marketing.
Sabonis, marketing, and Jordan Isaac, right? Jonathan Isaac. Not Jordan Isaac. The song, what a wicked game we play. Not him, but Jordan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac. And I wanna fall in. Not him. Not that dude, but
just so everybody knows, when we used to pre-record, all this would have been cut out. Not now you get it live. This is great.
You're getting it live, bro. So yeah, same thing happened with those dudes, right? So basically, the Grizzlies can renegotiate the last year of this deal, and that can happen only if the Grizzlies can add cap space to pay Jaren. So basically, we're over the cap right now, but we're not taxpayers. So the Grizzlies have to get any money they can get under the cap. They can add that to Jaren's current deal, which would be $23.4 million, up to $16 million, if I'm not mistaken. So if the Grizzlies can get under the cap up to $16 million, they can add that to Jaren's deal. That's not logical. That part's not going to happen. It's not going to get to 16. But you can get a lot of money add up to Jaren's deal. And Bobby Marks says that even if you don't include Santi Aldama in this, right? Let's say the Grizzlies say we want to hang on to the rights to Santi Aldama to see whether we want to either sign him ourselves, trade him, or whatever they do, right? They can hang on to Santi Aldama's rights. Even if they do that, they can let go of Luke Kennard. They can let go of Marvin Bagley. They can let go of Lamar Stevens. And that would get the Grizzlies $7 million under the cap.
Wow.
So then you can take that $7 million and add that to what Jaren currently makes and get him up to $30.3 million, according to Bobby Marks, right? From that amount, you could extend that new amount of $30 million and get Jaren to around $42 million per year, which would be more than Dez, more than Ja. He would be your highest paid player, and that would be a 4-year, $190 million contract.
If I'm Jaren, I'm doing that like that.
You do it now.
Yeah.
So instead of getting a $150 million deal, you're going to get $40 million more dollars. You get that deal up to almost $190 million. Yeah. I talked to Michael Cole. He said something that even Bobby Marks is leaving out. The Grizzlies could do a deal where they trade John Conchar for nothing. They give up, a high second-round pick or first or whatever they do. If they want to do that, they can even get more money for Jaren by trading off a John Conchar contract for nothing. And then that money could also be added to Jaren's deal, getting this deal over $200 million for the next 4 years. And then you say, okay, so why would he do that when he can wait until this next season is over and then go sign a new deal with another team, a 4-year deal with another team, or a 5-year deal with us. People have to keep in mind that the salary cap increases every season. So every year is valuable. Any 1 year or 2 years you can cut off of when you're a free agent again matters. Right? So if Jaren takes this $190 million deal this season, right? That means that in 4 years, he's up for free agency again. And he'll be 30 years old, still justified in being able to go out and get another max deal. At 30 years old, he could go out and get another one. If he waits until next season and then signs a deal in free agency, either with us or another team, if he does it with us, it's a 5-year deal. So it's all of next season and then 5 more years before he's a free agent again. So that's 6 years from now as opposed to 4 years from now, because this season would count if he extended off of this year. So it'd be that year plus, it'd be 5 years from now. But he would save another year. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So we'll put him back in free agency again at a much higher number than what it is now. Free agency in 5 years is more than what it would be now. So he would already have a huge deal, and he'd be back eligible again to sign another max deal in 4 years as opposed to 5. I'm thinking it's 6, but my math is wrong. But I hope you all understand. And because of those reasons, I think Jaren is going to sign an extension with the Grizzlies this year. Another reason why I think that is this. I'm the guy who told y'all that something wasn't right between Grizzlies GM Zach Kleiman and Grizzlies coach at the time, Taylor Jenkins. I'm the one who told y'all, yeah, something ain't right. Like this ain't looking right, right?
You've been right about all of this stuff, man. It's crazy.
Lo and behold, it happened, right?
It's crazy.
What's something else super weird that came out of Zach Kleiman's mouth? I'm gonna put you back to trade deadline. Kenny Stonefield. What's something real weird that Zach Kleiman said? If we look at it now, like, bro, that was dumb. Like, it didn't make sense either then. We should have known. If I'd have known what I knew now, some of the things he said at the deadline would have made more sense. What's something that he said?
He said a lot of stuff. I think the doubling down on Gigi and Vince was a massive thing that he said. Is that what you're talking about specifically? Yeah.
He said that he traded Marcus Smart because I had a rookie that proved he was a starter, and he beat out everybody, right? That was Jalen Wells. He said, and I've got a lot of confidence in Gigi and Vince. And we was like, well, I understand the confidence, bro, but we ain't seen these dudes in a while, right? We ain't seen these dudes do nothing. And you expect them to come out and do their thing in the playoffs. My thing is, Kenny Stubblefield, this deal that the Grizzlies could possibly do with Jaren this summer, where they extend him off this last season, the Grizzlies knew they couldn't do that with Marcus Smart on the roster because he eliminates all that. You would have to let go. You had to clear up a whole lot of salary to get under because you would have had Marcus Smart's deal on top of it. I think the Grizzlies knew then not only that they could do this, but
that would be their main.
That would be their main goal. And I think they knew that in the back of their head, Jaren could make an All-NBA team, but they knew that if he didn't, they needed this plan B, which is more like a plan A. So I think that the whole Marcus Smart thing was by design. I think that they let him go knowing if we have to sign Jaren this year, we can get those things going. And I don't think there was a move based on faith. I think there was a move done with clear communication.
With calculation. Right?
Like, and I think it was done. I think, I would assume that I really can't say this type of stuff. Like, I can't accuse this type of thing of happening, but the Grizzlies did this with confidence that Jaren's team was going to be okay with taking if they could get to a certain number this summer, that Jaren and his camp could get to that amount. And I think that's why we saw a Marcus Smart deal where you sent him off to Washington and you got an expiring contract back and no other players in the future. And you gave up a pick swap basically that got you, that first get that Washington your first round pick. Or whatever, but I think that was the plan ever since February, was to be able to clear up that space. Because if Marcus Smart was still here, the last 10-minute conversation I just had would not even be a factor. It wouldn't even be possible to do with Marcus Smart still on the roster. But go ahead.
If they're able to do this with Jaren, if they're able to get him signed to this,
when they're able to do this, I think that's happened.
When they're able to do this offseason, where does that leave the Grizzlies in terms of cap space for other moves?
Good question, my brother. I talked to some of my nerd friends about this as well. If the Grizzlies did this, they would no longer be able to get the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is going to be around somewhere between $12 and $15 million per year, which you could use to put pressure on a team like Minnesota and go sign a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right? You can make Minnesota have to make a hard decision on whether they want to do that or not, right? They would get something that's called a room exception. That would be like around $8 million because they wouldn't qualify for the non-tax thing anymore.
Wow.
They'd be able to get the lower amount. So in that case, you really couldn't do a lot in free agency. You don't have that mid-level amount where you can really go out and kind of get a pretty high caliber mid-level player.
Yeah.
You could get a guy. You can get a good player in that range, but you won't have the leverage to really bust a move like you really could. It would kind of tear you down as far as guys you can be able to get. But that would be available, and you can do some other things. You still would have the rights to Santi Aldama if you want to try to do some type of sign and trade. There are a lot of guys you probably could get for that in that $8 million range as well per season. There's going to be a lot of guys that are just kind of, versatile guys the Grizzlies can get. Not super big names, but guys who can kind of come in and do the job for what they need to do. But it would definitely affect free agency if they sign Jaren this way, opposed to wait until next season to
and you're good. Are you good with that? Are you good with
Yeah. If you don't have to worry about the Jaren thing and you're getting him at that number and you're bringing back you still have the access to Ja Bain's contract, Jaren's contract. You'll still have Brandon Clark. You have Santi to do whatever you want to do with him. And of course, all your cheap contracts. I think going into the season, not have to worry about none of that.
Yeah,
is definitely worth not being able to sign somebody in free agency, which is also something that this team hasn't done since we got Kyle Anderson. That was the last time we went out and,
right.
Kyle Anderson, not Kyle, Tyus Jones was the last dude we went out and signed in free agency. So I think this is going to be a very active offseason for the Grizzlies, but this thing with Jaren has to happen pretty soon. I would look out for more articles from guys like DeMichael Cole, guys like Perry Sharkey as well. This is all I really got to say about it. But I think this is happening. I think this is happening. I think it's going to happen pretty soon.
I want to toss this out to the people that are watching the show. Put it in the comments. Which avenue, A or B, would you take? Would you re-sign Jaren right now in this offseason and
try to risk taking it into next year?
Or risk taking it into next year? The pros of not signing him right now would be that you have more money to play around with in free agency, but then the con would be you risk losing Jaren to free agency next year, number one.
Paying him because 50, Jaren can make the Supermax next year.
He can hit the Supermax.
I didn't know. He can hit the Supermax next season qualifications, right. and you're talking about a crazy amount of money you're about to pay him next season.
Right.
I thought we were done. I thought once he didn't make it this year, we were in the clear, but I found out that no, he can hit those qualifications again next season. So yeah.
So would you re-sign him? In the comments, let us know, re-sign him this offseason or re-sign him next offseason. I would love to know what everybody thinks about that. I know where I stand. I think you get a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. and you could get him for $50-60 million less over an extended contract. And you get him now and he's committed to the franchise and your two core guys are there. I think you get him right now.
Yeah. I think he wants to. And I think he wants to. I think that opportunity to get this max deal, be the highest paid player on the team, get that deal, have that done, and then be able to go back into free agency, a few years from now makes a lot more sense than anything. Yeah, I know my boy E. Mason. My boy put E. Mason comment up there. E. Mason is a big fan of the lower tier free agent. He's a big fan. Go get that guy that's off somebody. Yeah, the Najee Marshalls of the world.
Yeah, shout out Ben Glisson, man. Our guy Ben.
Yeah, shout out. But yeah, shout out to my boy E. Mason because he can give you. Hey, E. Mason, just flex on him, man. Go and drop about 8 names on him right quick, man. I know you got him, bro.
He likes those lower tier free agents.
Yeah, he can tell you the lower tier free agents, bro. Like he can name them for sure. That's my man E. Mason been rocking with me for at least about 10, 11 of them things, bro.
Shout out.